So our next part that we're going to be making is going to be the stack. The stack is kind of like the chimney that fits on top of the body. If you remember doing this hole right there, that's where the stack is going to be fitting into. All right. The stack is kind of a little bit tricky because it doesn't look like they give all the dimensions here, but they actually do. Um, and another thing is we have this counter bore at the top, and so we actually want to use a hole feature later on when we're making this counter bore, so that way when we go into the working drawings, we can use a hole dimension feature and we can dimension it just like they show here. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and start making this, and I think I'm going to do the revolve tool here. So I'm going to start a 2D sketch and I'll select on the YZ plane. So here we go. And I'm just going to use my line tool, so I'm just going to click L for line. And I'm going to just go ahead and make a rough outline of what the shape kind of looks like. So I say go over, up, and then I kind of go offwards at an angle, backwards at an angle, and I go back to my Y, and then back to my origin there. All right, now from here I can actually add some dimensions. So I'm just going to add all these dimensions, this 0.25, this 1.5, and this 1.75. So I'm going to dimension, click this line, 0.25. Ooh, all of a sudden it kind of jumps around a little bit. Then I'm going to go from this bottom up to this point. That's going to be 1.5. And then I'm going to go from the bottom all the way up to the top line. That's going to be 1.75. Alright, so I've got that going. So my height should all be purple. So I can't change the height any longer. Okay, I can change the width of stuff, but I cannot change the height. So the height's locked in. That's awesome. So the next thing up, I'm going to be looking at the width. So this is where it kind of gets tricky because I've got the diameter that's given right here. This diameter is actually 0.5 inches, all right? And I want to kind of get into that, and I'm only going to be drawing half of it because I'm doing the revolve tool. So instead of 0.5, it's got to be 0.25, all right? And then I've got this one right here, which is the outside most edge. So from here to this point right there, I'm going to make that 1.25 divided by 2. Now when it gets a little funky like this, what I normally do is I'll go ahead and I will fix it up to bring it back to what my shape should look like. Alright, this is probably the hardest part of this part, and that is this 15 degrees. So I actually have this line, it should be 15 degrees from a line that goes straight up and down. I don't have a line that goes straight up and down, so what I'm going to have to do is I'm going to have to make a construction line, alright, going straight up, and then I'm going to put in a dimension from this angle to the line that goes straight up and down. So I'm going to click the line tool, click on construction line, and I start at my point down here. I'm going to go up, and it doesn't really matter how far up I'm going to go. I'm just going to go 0.5 just to make it even and fully constrained. And let me move that out of the way. Alright, so what I said is I want this angled line to be 15 degrees away from this line that goes straight up and down. So I can just click dimension, click the angle, and click that, and I got 15 degrees. There we go. I can see that I am fully constrained right here. So that's awesome. It's all purple. It looks good. I can click Finish Sketch. Alright. Now what I want to do is I want to just revolve this around our center axis. Alright. So revolve, and it's going to automatically select our profile. Our center axis that we're going to be revolving around is going to be this line. Alright. Remember when we made this, we were dividing these diameters by 2, and it was always dimensioned to this line. So that's our center axis. There we go. We could say OK now, And we're pretty good. It looks pretty awesome right now. And all we got to do is get the counter bore in the top. So I'm just going to create a 2D sketch. I'm going to use this project geometry, which kind of just traces the object again. So we're going to trace this edge right there, and we're going to put a point right in the center. All right. You can say finish sketch. Now you can see I have this point here. All you got to do is use the hole feature. Let's take a look at what it looks like here. So I've got an inside diameter of 0.375 and it goes down 1.5. So I need to make sure I click my counter bore here. So my inside diameter should be right here, and how far down it goes should be right here. My outside, the bigger diameter, is going to be right here, and how far down it goes is right here. So it should be 0.375. It's going down 1.5, and then my bigger diameter is 0.875, and it goes down 0.375. Right? You should see the preview of what it looks like right now, and it looks pretty good, except for one thing. This point that comes at the bottom right here, we don't want that. You can see right here it doesn't actually have a point, and this symbol is actually saying it's going to be a flat bottom right there. So I need to actually select right here, and it just says flat bottom. Alright, and I could say OK, and there we go. We've made the train stack. Not too bad.